I've almost got it to the point to where I can do things fluidly when it comes to transitions and all this kind of stuff. So it's like a cut edit. Big Thursday. No dilly, no dally zone. Thursday thoughts. John, hear you there. If you looked at the rundown on social media, we're going to go to Greenville in about a minute because I've got to promo the show. Andrew Wiebe coming up at the bottom of the hour to talk Sunday night soccer, everything on his mind when it comes to Major League Soccer. 10 o'clock Eastern. Our buddy Nino Torres is going to be visiting us from Lima, Peru, where we go fully loaded around the world in 30 minutes. Last half hour of the show, Niko Moreno from Seattle. Maybe he's recovered from the late night in CONCACAF. I don't know. We'll find out last half hour and look at everything MLS, Western perspective, CONCACAF, all the things. There you go. That's the show. We might talk Julian Alvarez and PKs on the in-betweens. I didn't see a double clutch. I didn't see a double hit. Maybe I'm old and blind. Not necessarily the first time that would be, something that would be out there in the ether. But whatever else is on your mind, hit me. All right, minute. I didn't even do an opening kickoff. So this is going to be opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee, kickoffcoffeeco.com. Make sure you got your fluids with you. All right, get Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Soccer down here, 15 on the way out the door, 15% off. Buy the whole store, but you can do it at a 15% discount. There you go. We got more stuff to talk about in promos later. All right. Big day yesterday in Greenville, and it was something that we couldn't resist because it's not every day that, like a dude like Ronaldinho just is in Greenville, but when he's a minority owner, he kind of wants to see what's going down. And so, of course, he did. And as always, when we catch up with our friends in Greenville with the Greenville Triumph, big day for them. We'll talk about that. Doug Irwin, Chief Branding Officer, Grand Exalted Poobah of anything and everything Greenville Triumph. He's now going to come and hang out with us on a very busy Thursday. Yo, Doug, what up?
Good morning. How's it going, John?
You tell me. You're the busy man.
So I don't know if the stream can see the bags under my eyes, but all for very good reason this morning after a huge day yesterday. So appreciate you getting me in.
So how huge was it in the growth of the Greenville Triumph? He poises as a question out of the blocks. ...
I don't even know if we can quantify yet. Yesterday was amazing from start to finish. The culmination of 7 years of hard work, and to be able to break ground and to do it with one of the biggest living legends in the sport, at your side in front of hundreds of fans, standing in the middle of a dirt field. Was awesome, and then to carry that momentum through some media availability later in the day, and then all the way into a big win for the Triumph against Omaha last night. I think storybook is probably the word we want to go with.
I think so. For those that aren't necessarily familiar, I want to go backward before we go forward.
Sure.
How did this relationship come to be with Ronaldinho and the Greenville Triumph? Was it like him dialing you up on like WhatsApp or something and going, yo, bro, I like what you're doing. I'd like to be a part owner. I mean, does he catch up with your dad? I mean, do he and your dad have like speed dial and text back and forth like 3 times a week? How did this come to pass?
It's all through relationships, and a game of telephone in the best way possible. My dad, our majority owner, had gotten connected a couple years ago with someone he had kind of known indirectly through the business world, Wallace Cheese, who's a local businessman, long Greenville native, born and raised. And Wallace is a developer, his background, and he wanted to get invested in the team. And Wallace had a history working really all over the world on development projects, and spent some time living in Brazil. And through that, got connected to Ronaldinho and his brother Roberto. Who's also his business manager, and then a couple other folks. And as Wallace was getting interested in investing in the team, he posed the question to Roberto and Ronaldinho, and they've been people who have given back to the game at every turn since Ronaldinho's playing career ended, and we're interested in getting involved in the project. Still kind of in disbelief, even after that process, which came together over the period of about a year or so. So I think seeing the guys get out of the van yesterday and walk in the groundbreaking, even though we knew it was going to happen and we're planning for it for a couple of weeks. It was still surreal.
I think surreal is probably a good word to break this whole thing down. It's because it's not every day that you're in an environment where van door opens, Ronaldinho comes out, and you're just kind of walking out and you're breaking ground and everything. I mean, it's what the conversations that his side and your side have had when it comes to the vision for the club and going forward. What does he see? What does he see in Greenville, and what do you see in Ronaldinho and that family, where you can take it to these next steps, including what we had happen yesterday with the groundbreaking?
I think if you want to boil it down to one word, you just see potential. We see potential in Ronaldinho and the audience he brings, the connections, the ability to get us in front of businesses, players, sponsors, fans, you name it. And I think Ronaldinho, Roberto, the whole group of Ronaldinho Investment Group sees potential in the growth of American soccer at the grassroots level, and what the USL has been able to do, the potential pro rel on the horizon, um, you name it. I think it's two groups coming together that believe in the future of soccer in America, and a united goal to give back to the game. One of the things that I feel like is central to Ronaldinho and his playing career and the type of person he is central to our mission is joy and creating joy. And I think that's what we saw a lot of yesterday. And that's what it all boils down to for us. We're not in it to make a big bag of money. Spoiler alert: most people in minor league sports don't make even a little bag of money
Right.
um, running teams, but creating joy. I think if we can do that together, we'll all be very successful in this venture.
For those not familiar with the situation, over the last couple of years, you've been playing at a couple of different venues, and you've been trying to find that time in your calendar and in your growth pattern where you need to have your own barn, you need to have your own place. For those not familiar with the geography and the dynamics and the discussions, why did you settle on where you settled? Where is it inside the Greenville, South Carolina footprint? Basically, the why for why have yesterday be what it was.
Sure. Well, I think knowing a lot of the SDH audiences in and around Atlanta, the best example to provide is the Braves example, because it was a bit of a similar model followed. We looked at, just like the Braves did, where is our season ticket holder base coming from? We had a heat map of all of upstate South Carolina. We draw from 30 to 45 minutes out in either direction, but the majority of our season ticket holders are coming from two suburbs, Malden and Simpsonville, that are 10 and 15 minutes from downtown Greenville, respectively, right on the highway. And so to be able to put a stadium in their backyard in Malden, where it's close to downtown, it's close to the airport, it's right on two major highways, and to get in the backyard of all of them, all those families with young kids playing soccer, not too far from our largest academy in Greenville, and to do it in a development that has similar goals of live, work, play, like what the Braves created, down near Truist Park. That's huge for us. Both of our temporary stadium sites, though they've been great, are more well, they're not destinations. They're kind of isolated, right? One is on a college campus that's outside of downtown and doesn't have much in the way of commercial business, certainly on campus. The other was in an old part of West Greenville that didn't have a lot right nearby. We want people to be able to get there at noon for a 7 o'clock game, park their car, hang out, have a beer, shop, play some games, trickle into the stadium an hour early, and make a day about it. So that that is the biggest thing for us. And the Brave model is different because they make money on those people the whole day.
Right.
We're not developers. We're not even going to make the money. We just want people to come have a good time, and we know that they'll want to come to soccer games more if they can do that, whether we're making all the money or not. We want people to come support the development, and the Hughes Investment Group is the developer, and we want them to come into the stadium and have a great experience.
Vice Chair, Chief Branding Officer Doug Irwin, Greenville Triumph, hanging out here, batting leadoff here on SDHAM. And you have to think about your future off the field. You have to think about the triumph. You have to think about the liberty. You have to think about all of these different aspects. And it got to that point to where it's like, a couple of years ago, you were like to that point. It's like, okay, we got to find a spot where we can call it home. What is the current plan for completion, expectations, the markers going forward when it comes to what you broke ground on?
Yeah, well, forgive me for sounding a little vague because it's all still moving so quickly, but we hope to be in there next year in some capacity playing games. And, whether that's a completed, ultimate final build of the stadium, that seems a little less likely, but you never know. But I do think we know we want to get our fans in there early, get them used to playing in this, give them something that is an improvement on where we are now. But so we can go ahead and see that vision, start to realize that vision. And I think our fans want something that they can call home. And a lot of the fans I've talked to, supporter groups, everything, that they just want to be home. And I think they'll understand that, hey, we might still be building parts of the stadium around you as we're hosting games. We'll try and make it as minimally invasive as possible. But we want to get there. We want a place that we can call our own. We've been having parties in other people's houses for going 7 years now. We want to host our own party now.
Well, and that's what USL League One has as a part of almost its DNA in a couple of different places. You see it in Statesboro, you see it in Chattanooga, you're seeing it with you there, where you have the stadium as that anchor piece, but it's all about that live, work, play, other things to do, and not just show up at a stadium, tailgate a little bit, watch a game, and go home. It's about that whole the whole piece of the puzzle there for USL League One in a bunch of different places.
Yeah, and the thing that I hear from supporters when they've gone and watched us play in Chattanooga, play in Statesboro, some of these places where they have their own stadiums, but maybe they're not to their final build yet. They're like, "Hey, that was a fun experience. Like, are there still some things that are not built yet? Sure, but like we see the vision and we know that's going to be a cool place, and it was cool to be in that environment because you can tangibly see what it's going to be, even if it's not all the way there yet. So I know that's going to be huge for us in any capacity, and we at the same time we got to make sure that the construction's moving. And the thing we talk about is if we're going to play in a stadium that is still being worked on, we need to throughout the long 6-7 month soccer season, even longer maybe, they still, our fans and supporters still need to be able to see progress throughout the season, right? We can't just park a couple bulldozers on one side if we're building this stand and leave them there all season. But yeah, just being able to start to put our fingerprints on something is going to be huge for both clubs. And then what it's able to provide for us long term, um, in terms of the ability to look at taking the liberty to fully professional in Super League, or another fully pro league, to look at how it's going to factor into our ability for promotion in a world where the USL would institute pro rel. We've got to be prepared for all those possibilities, and that's something we've not been able to do yet, but we'll be able to do with our own stadium.
What was yesterday like for your dad?
Exhausting. No, I think it was validating. I know he didn't sleep much the night before because I sat next to him at our game last night for a bit, and you could tell he was worn out but fulfilled. I think everybody in ownership that was able to be there yesterday was floating on air, as he described to me that night. So that was huge, and I think it just kind of reignites the passion we all have for this project. Not that we were burned out or anything, but just to get that boost and lift that all the fans provide. It's always good.
And you had to have your quick turn to be ready for Union Omaha to come to town. You got a big win there too early in the USL League One season. You put up a marker.
Yeah. You think the whole time, uh, during the groundbreaking to lead up, you're like, boy, I hope we don't lay an egg that night. That'd be quite the come down. And of course, we had to do it against Union Omaha, who's one of the best clubs in the league, and the defending champs. So I was so proud of the coaches and the players and the technical staff last night, to be able, not just proud of the performance, but to be able to separate the two, because we asked them to come sit at a groundbreaking, for an hour on a game day, and normally we don't bug them on a game day at all. So to have them come out, enjoy that, they get their pictures with Ronaldinho, have a great time, and then say, guys, you got to turn around and focus. You got a really big early season test. So to come out and not only win, but to win in convincing fashion, 3-0, amazing goals, couple highlight reel goals that are going to be in the final reel of best goals of the season, League One, I think. And then an incredible defensive performance from a team that is banged up. We had 4 or 5 guys out last night, that are all expected to, contribute regularly to the team. Second game of the season, we still, nobody knows what they're doing yet. But man, they locked in. The fans are really into it, and yeah, again, just storybook day, John. Really, just I think we're all exhausted this morning, but we're grinning ear to ear for sure.
No doubt about it. Take what I do every morning, regardless of if I am at a groundbreaking with Ronaldinho or not. I shove my face under a spigot in the bathroom.
Yes.
Otherwise, I'd look like Keith Richards doing all that kind of stuff. So trust me, brother, I know how you feel. Congratulations on this new day, this new phase of everything. The big day there for soccer involving the Triumph, GreenvilleTriumph.com. You can catch up with what they want to do at Bridgeway Station, all the points in between, the ideas, all that kind of stuff. Are you allotting yourself a nap at any point, like maybe when we're done?
Maybe tomorrow afternoon when the weekends, but we got some crazy stuff coming up. We play Asheville for the first time on Tuesday in Open Cup. Then we get a little bit of a break, but our next home game, it's a really cool story. We got a child from Make a Wish coming to play in our game and be a part of the Triumph for our game, our next league game. So we'll sleep in late November. How's that sound?
Right there with you, brother. And I mean, I can relate. So, Doug Irwin, once again, friend of the network here, friend of the morning show. Congratulations on a big day yesterday. Get back to it. Get your rather large cup of coffee. Head into the office. And once again, congratulations. And we're looking forward to the next stages. We'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it as always.
There goes the Doug. Doug's going to go get like the biggest cup of coffee known to mankind. Understandably so. It's not, like I said, not every day Ronaldinho drops by your barn, So Ronaldinho comes in, breaking ground on the new stadium once again. You can go to GreenvilleTriumph.com. They have all the details of the where and the why and all your FAQ. That's the only thing that's missing. It's just the fireworks that are associated with it. But yeah, the FAQ, Greenville Triumph, breaking ground on the new stadium plan in Malden. Ronaldinho drops by. That's like you got your stadium and then Ronaldinho drops by. So you got all that going on. Andrew Wiebe set to join us in a handful of minutes. We're going to catch up with everything going on. Oh, see now, I mean, come on. It's professor. See, is it yeah, because that's not even spelled professor correctly. That's this. You don't even spell professor correctly. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking in the Twitch pitch, and it's like I'm going to block professori with a question mark, and then I'm going to report professori with a question mark as a bot. So bot there. And so I'm going to say, what do we say? Cheap viewers. So cheap viewer solicitation. If I could spell solicitation this early in the morning. Solis. There's a C in there, John. Solicitation. If I could spell. Cheap viewer solicitation. There we go. All right. So report's been submitted. And there we go. So that is the early story out of the blocks. And like I said, morning, Alex, morning, Kefsey. It is one of those mornings where we're flying around because we had Doug. And like I said, I can't thank Doug enough to come in and talk about what happened yesterday, USL League One, big day for USL League One in general, and specifically for Greenville. As Doug was saying, it's been a 7-year process. And to get to that day yesterday, and the video's out there where Ronaldinho just walking down the hill. I think it was at Furman, I think, at the end of the day, was they were getting ready for the match. But, yeah, the video of Ronaldinho in Greenville, just walking down the hill. So, big day for them yesterday, and it's, big day for soccer in the Southeast. So that's why we had to have Doug on, and great that in his state where he probably needed another couple of cups of coffee, he dropped in to bat leadoff this morning. Like I said, Andrew Wiebe set to join us in a couple of minutes we talk about Sunday night soccer, Major League Soccer, Atlanta United, everything going on in his mind. I want to get into the Sunday night soccer production a little bit. And I know that Andrew has also solicited places to go, things to do, people to see. And so this is where you get to help out, and you get to help him out in that process as well. So, yes. And so Kefsi is correct. Illicit solicitee. Quoting that's a if it was me, I read it that way because I took 2 years of Latin in high school and 2 semesters in college. So illicit solicitee, multiple solicitations. That to me is a masculine plural noun. Solicitations. So there we go. Then we have the hour number 2, traditionally what it is, fully loaded with Nino coming in at 10. We go around the world. I don't know his topics. I have an idea. Obviously, we'll talk about Champions League and the double hit. Like I said, I didn't see it. It's like, yeah, people were zabrudering or freeze frame, but I didn't see the ball hit the boot. It's like it was right there, was called a double hit, and got wiped off the board, and then Real Madrid advanced. So probably talk about that, talk about Gyökeres, and talk about everything else that's on his mind when it comes to Libertadores, etc. And then our buddy Niko Moreno joining us in the last half hour of the show to talk about everything from a Pacific perspective. A reminder, Hampton and Eagles Landing. It is the boys at 5:30, the girls at 7:30. That's on the network, soccerdownhere.mixler.com. Download the Mixler app, and you can do it that way. You follow Soccer Down Here or SDH2, and then you can get all the games all the time. And whenever there is something going on the network, then you can also you get an email notification to find out what's going on. Hey, something's live. I think I'll go. Also, Morning Espresso is up with Jason, and you can get that in audio form, video form, or newsletter form presented by our friends at Oglethorpe University. 15 minutes or so, it's the greatest hits of the day leading into. So it's like this, but in shorter form with Jason. Morning Espresso, once again, brought to us by our friends at Oglethorpe University. Subscribe, be a part of that process, and all of that stuff. Wow. He's like he got all the green lights. Okay, I see how this works. All right. I would debate filibustering for another 2 minutes, but I'm not going to do it because Andrew Wiebe got all the green lights. He's ready to go. So we're just going to go ahead and bring Andrew in. And first and foremost, Andrew, welcome to the morning show. Thanks for dropping by.
John, thank you for having me. When I see a green light, we're smashing the accelerator. No hesitation, get straight through that. And I see a green light this Sunday for a epic matchup in Atlanta. I could not be more happy to be in the building, in the bins, witnessing the pit, doing all the things. It's a bucket list matchup, and that was before last year's playoffs, and now it's just extra juicy.
See, now he hit the promo right out of the blocks, and so I think what we're going to do.
I'm a pro.
It's you hit the promo out of the blocks, and then I imagine when we end the segment, he's probably going to hit the promo again because I'm going to ask him to do it. You have already on social media, on the 280 character app, you have put out the spotlight. You put out the bat signal. You have wanted to know when, I guess, depending on when you get into town, what to do, what to see, what to eat. We here have just, we've thought that we should help out in this process. So how much time do you have when you hit town? When are you hitting town first and foremost?
Less time than normal. So I'll give you a rundown of what my it's early days, but this is what it's looked like for me so far this year and what I think it'll continue to look like. I'll get in first thing on a Friday. Like I've been taking 6 a.m.s out of Newark to get to LA at 9 a.m. It's quite the lifestyle, but that gives me most of Friday. I'll do a feature shoot on Friday, and we've done some really fun stuff so far, and I think we're only going to keep improving on that front. Then Saturday is generally go to training, hang out. That's like a kind of take it all in day for me oftentimes. And then Sunday is all about the game and the game experience. But this time, because we are chatting with Miguel Almiron on Saturday for our feature for Sunday Night Soccer on MLS Countdown, I will be coming in very early on Saturday morning, that gives me a Friday to hang out with the family. And that is a currency that has become, well, not has become, has always been very valuable, but has been even more valuable of late. So I get in Saturday morning. I will
Okay.
probably try to grab some breakfast. I'll go to the Benz for training. We're going to sit down with Miguel Miron and walk him through, memories from moments past, present, and future, hopefully in Atlanta, and have a good conversation. And then I got the afternoon. So if anybody's got, you know, any afternoon suggestions, dinner suggestions, I am 100% open, and I need a couple breakfast spots for sure.
Oh, let's see, breakfast spots. Now, let me ask: do you have your own rental car, or are you at the mercy of Ubers and cabs and MARTA?
I'm at the sweet mercy of Uber, but Uber will take me where I need to go. So
Okay, so breakfast. I mean, breakfast. I mean, if you really wanted to be just southeastern decadent, I mean, there's always the Waffle House. You could go to Martin's up in Cobb County. See, now this is why we solicit, and this is going to be an ongoing solicitation for you on social media.
yes,
So,
at Andrew_Wiebe. All DMs are welcome. All replies are welcome. All suggestions are welcome. Please give me a little insight on what it is I should do.
yeah. So, off the top of my head, it would be Martin's and getting the breakfast biscuit. I don't know how late they serve breakfast, but then Waffle House
Martin's.
24/7. Then you get into lunch, and then you're probably looking at something fat maddish if you're going ribs or Southern barbecue.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to be living in Orange Theory both these days just to fit
Yeah.
into my suit on Sunday.
Yes, that is, or just don't unbutton the blazer and just go with like the mock turtleneck or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. So yeah, I mean, it would have to be something Fat Matt, because everybody goes to Fox Brothers, and that's why it's like go to Fat Matt's or something like that and get your ribs. Oh boy, Mary Mac's tea
Fox
room.
Brothers.
But Fox, it's like, yeah. I mean, for me, it's like Fat Matt's and then Fox Brothers, and then you're looking maybe Mary Mac's tea room or something like that. If you really want a good Southern meal,
You know,
then
I think I've been to Mary Mac's on a previous trip.
okay.
I'm just furiously. Oh, I have definitely been to Mary Mac's. I recognize I recognize all the, the walls of
Uh-huh.
photos and just the chairs themselves and then the outdoor. So I've definitely been to Mary Mac's Tea Room before.
Okay.
Yes, the iconic L-shaped red sign. I've certainly had fried
Okay.
chicken at this establishment in my
Yes.
past.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So we've gotten you started. So now that you're at the mercy of Uber, you might want to walk from the hotel after you go to some of these spots to head back to the hotel, because we want this to be a good experience. And then Carter Library, I would say MLK Center, if you're looking for sightseeing in downtown. Those would be the top two for me off the top of my head. I know that those have been solicited a couple of different places, but yeah, the Carter Library, the Carter Center, and the MLK Center. I think those would
Got a
probably.
nice walkover at the Carter Library. It looks like a good, just a good, clear the head Saturday afternoon. Maybe walk off a little bit of lunch,
Or
prepare
a lot of
yourself
lunch.
for dinner type of experience. That's my kind of thing. I appreciate you.
That's what we're here for. And so, like I said, this will be an ongoing solicitation for you on the 280 character app. All right. Uh, the reason you are here, other than eating and gaining 10 pounds and having to loosen out your belt by the time the weekend is done, is to catch up with Inter Miami, Messi and friends, the Gulfstream Galacticos, however you wish to refer to them, as we do here on the show, and Atlanta United. Early thoughts as we've gone through match week 3. You have a team that is going through schedule compression to the 90th degree. They're going to be coming from a match on Thursday, turning things around, and having to play Sunday night on SNS. Early thoughts from 30,000 feet about this matchup.
I mean, it's exactly what you want early in the season for both teams, I think, and that is a barometer matchup. But it doesn't quite yet have the ultimate pressure that we'll see later on. Inter Miami have picked up where they left off and maybe even taken it to a higher level. And that's with Lionel Messi getting a blow, which he really never got unless he was truly hurt under Tata Martino. And I think he's more right now just being protected by Javier Mascherano. And maybe that's a benefit of the relationship that those two have. But we were talking to Javier before the Houston game we did in week 2. And he was very explicit in saying, look, we're going to find moments to rest these guys. And it felt like, in seasons past, that didn't happen with Messi, the 1.5 years. If he was available, he was basically going to Tata and he was saying, you put my name on the lineup sheet, and I'll come out when I want to come out. But he seems more open to taking a rest. And maybe that comes back to last year. Maybe that comes back to the failures that Inter Miami endured. And I say failures intentionally because they can only be defined that way. The way that they win out of Champions Cup, the way that they win out of Leagues Cup, the way that they win out of the MLS Cup playoffs. Those are far below the standards that club expects from themselves in this part of their existence, and far below the standards that Messi has always expected of himself and the teams that he plays for. So I get the feeling under Mascherano, not only did they make some really good signings in the offseason, not only did the young players who had started to sort of flicker and show signs of being really important cogs in this machine take another leap forward. It just seems like they are protecting themselves a little bit better in terms of their most important asset, which is Lionel Messi. Now, the flip side is Luis Suarez and his knee just seem to be trucking on, man. This guy it's like, whatever, I don't know, whatever he's got. Maybe it's cortisone shots. Maybe it's just incredible grit and determined. I don't know what it is, but like, let me get a taste of that later in life, because this dude, when you watch him live, there are moments where you're like, okay, well, he's laboring. Like, he's not running quite the way that you would expect a professional athlete to run. And it's almost like he's lulling you to sleep. And maybe he's just giving his body little breaks. And then he's like, yeah, I need it for 15 seconds. And so when I turn on the lights, like, good Lord, they're blinding, but we're just going to operate mostly in the dark because that's all we need to do. It's been really incredible. And I think this team is poised for something special. It's also helpful that they've got this lead against Cavalier. I wouldn't think that Messi would start, but anytime he wants to play, he plays. I would love to see him start from the beginning at the Benz and really make it a party. And I have to imagine he has revenge. He has payback on his mind.
Yeah, 10-3-2, I think, last year when Messi was out with injury. And I've just come to the conclusion where Luis Suarez is concerned. It's like some dudes need the rest. Some dudes just kind of need to sit, and then it's like, yeah, I'll be good when, the engine turns over. But there are some cars that you just got to have, and you got to keep the engine running in the parking lot. You can't shut the ignition off, because then you shut the ignition off, engine goes cold. You got to start the process back.
I hear you. Daily driver. He's your daily driver somehow.
Yeah, so, that's the only thing I can think of with Suarez, and he seems to give me the reps, and I'm fine, whereas Messi needs the rest, and he's got international duty coming up, and so it's like, all right, where are my priorities? And right now it might end up being, to a certain degree, surviving CONMEBOL, which is its own level of survival right there. And then you mentioned folks in the offseason, you bring in Segovia and Allende, and they just have kind of, it's like, yeah, okay, we're good. And so they've acclimated well. You bring in Lujan to help things out. So they've brought in these pieces that have helped in certain aspects, although I still think at the back they might be a little susceptible.
Maybe, but if you look at the underlying numbers, they've got the best expected goals allowed in the entire Eastern Conference, second in the entire league so far. I think with Maxi Falcone, with another year of Yannick Bright, with more time together, Lujan obviously, but I would not expect this team to be quite as leaky as they have been in years past. And I think Mascherano will be a huge help to that, in addition to these pieces that they've brought in. I just think, look, it's early days, but to me, Allende and Segovia are upgrades on what they lost last year and the goals that they needed to replace. Now, Segovia is on like a run of form that maybe we haven't seen from him at this level just yet, but maybe this is the moment he makes the leap with Suarez and Messi and Allende and friends. But I mean, they're better than Johan Rojas. They don't have a replacement directly for Campana, but we've yet to see that be a huge issue. And the one guy that I don't think you can replace is Gomez. But they have Kremovsky and they have Bright and they have this cadre of young guys that have sort of stepped into this breach. And, I'm very curious to see how they go about it on the road in Atlanta, and what kind of lineup gets run out tonight in Jamaica versus Sunday in Atlanta, and what that says about the priorities that they're setting. Because I think there's a very real sense for Mascherano that being the best you can be at the end of the year in MLS is the most important thing. Not that they're going to throw away a chance to win the Shield. I think they'll go for that. But I think preserving Messi is clearly a priority that they've sort of zeroed in on. And then how can they make a run in the Champions League? Because if you look at that side of the bracket, and I can't break my habit, it's always Champions League in my mind, and I'll get Champions Cup
Right
someday.
there with you, brother.
I can't break it. It just bubbles up out of me.
Mm-hmm.
But they've got a real chance on that side of the bracket. Like with like you're looking at Monterrey's out. You're looking at Pumas, maybe a Costa Rican team standing in the way of a trip to the finals.
Yeah.
So I'm this entire exercise to start the year has just been a very interesting one in terms of what matters to Inter Miami and how do they preserve Messi.
Yeah, and right now it's looking like a bit of a homecoming between the sticks. The red card for Ustari against Charlotte means that Rocco Rios Novo returns and in net for Inter Miami coming up to town. You mentioned that left-hand side of the bracket. It's Alajuelense and Pumas, and the winner of that one gets Vancouver after Vancouver went on the road late last night, for those of us with bleary eyes, and survived that one. And then you have LAFC going up against the winner of, and I have to say it this way because it hadn't been played yet, the winner of Cavalry and Inter Miami. So that's what you're looking at, left-hand side.
Fair.
So the window is there for Inter Miami, and there have been goals scored in this matchup. 5 of the last 6. Multiple goals have been scored against Inter Miami by Atlanta United. When you look at Atlanta United, what have you seen so far in the first 3 match weeks?
I think we saw maybe the best against Montreal. And I think we're still seeing sort of a team that is in large part some new pieces try to come together, particularly from an attacking sense. I'm very curious to see what Ronnie Dyla says today and tomorrow about Emmanuel Latte-Loth. If you don't have Latte-Loth, is it Xande Silva from the start? How do they set up? Latte-Loth so far has been incredible in terms of in the box, set piece service, and then that run in behind and ability to hold the ball up. But I don't think he's been as consistent for me as somebody like, let's just say a new signing like Denke in Cincinnati. Denke has shown me a little bit more in his ability to keep the ball, hold the ball, create with teammates around him, and still get into goal-scoring positions. So I just still think we're in a building process. The difference between Latte-Loth and Denke is, for one, you have a team in Cincinnati that's had a very high standard for the last 2 years and has consistency in their best players. And I'm not talking, Lucho's gone, but in terms of the best players, the spine of the team, central midfield, center backs, the wing backs have been around. Whereas I think Atlanta United and Dyla are still sort of feeling each other out. I watched the first half hour before I jumped on with you against the Red Bulls because Dyla said, "Hey, I thought we played really well during that half hour." I thought it was fine. It's not necessarily the standard that I think that they have in mind, but it's the beginnings of something. And I'm very curious to see what this midfield mix turns out to be and how they find a way to get Moranchuk facing forward with runners in front of him. It's just not happening enough. And the execution from Moranchuk in those moments, to my eye, is not good enough. And I still don't think we've seen quite the best from Almiron either. But I wouldn't be concerned about that if I was Atlanta. We're 3 weeks into a new season.
Yeah, no doubt.
3 weeks into an experiment that doesn't have to be at its best until, All-Star break time, post All-Star break. You just need to get results. And that's, I think, where there's a little bit of disappointment at the weekend. Is that, yes, it's a result, but Atlanta need to turn the bins into a place where they're betting on 3 points. Their average is 2.3, 2.1 points per game. Like, more often than not, you're winning. So to me, it's a building process, and I'm not quite sure what that building is going to look like yet, and that's part of the fun.
And Ronnie Dyla has mentioned that right now they've only been together as a group for 7 weeks, and three of those have been in game state in Major League Soccer. And so you have what you learned in training camp, and then you try to apply it, and then you learn about your players, you learn about each other, you learn those relationships as you go. You're 3 matches in. How much, you mentioned, say, All-Star, how much patience do you naturally give clubs with new head coaches, with the turnover and introduction of new faces, before you have a gut feeling in your mind, okay, this is who they are? Do you go to the quarter poll? Do you go to All-Star traditionally? How do you gauge when you're looking at teams that have a turnover and new head coaches?
That's an interesting question because there's such a variability in MLS, right? Because we've seen right now with, like, for instance, San Jose and Vancouver, who have that new manager bump that's just got them flying. Same thing for Philly. And we saw the same thing, for instance, for Bradley Carnell in St. Louis. The beginning was very hot. I'm more of as opposed to a timeline, I'm more of a progress person. What do you see in terms of the eye test, in terms of performances, and then also the underlying numbers, in terms of, okay, here's a starting point. Now, you want to see a trend line, right? You want to see an upward trend line. And particularly for a club as ambitious as Atlanta United, who have spit in the category of Atlanta United, I think you have to expect that trend line to be more than just sort of slow, steady, gradual plodding. Like there need to be some jumps. It doesn't always have to be this big jump every single week, but you need to see moments of improvement. And I think you're going to see that. And let's, for instance, just say this weekend, if Brooks Lennon is available and he's back, he changes the way that this team plays. He changes what Miguel Almiron does on the right side. He changes the space and the time and the options that a guy like Moranchuk has as well. So, I'm going to start judging week by week, and I just want to see little ticks forward. I want to see Latte Lath be more comfortable. I want to see more chemistry in terms of how Moranchuk gets on the ball and what options are in front of him and the timing of those runs and sort of his recognition of the moments that he can change games. I want to see the center back pairing in terms of Williams and Gregerson just have more moments where they seem like, hey, we're right here on the same page. Everything is calm, considered, and comfortable. And so far, I think the early signs have been fine. They haven't been. I don't think you guys would say the same thing, right? Who watch every single week. Your socks haven't been blown off, except for maybe those moments against Montreal that, Mosquera's goal and the way Latte Lath was commanding in the area and with the ball in front of goal. But 90 minutes at a time, man. Progress. Like this is a league where you need to build to your best as opposed to be at your best and try to hold it. And Atlanta have one standard, and that's winning things. And right now, you can't win things, but you can lose confidence.
Traditionally in television opens, and I'm going to move you upstairs for this particular moment. I know that you'll be patrolling the sidelines and getting all the intel. You pull out your earpiece, you sit there and go, okay, that's what he said. Then you sit there and say, I got something, come down to me. Well, we know about those kinds of things. I'm going to bump you upstairs for a minute. So we have the open, title over wide. You say all the big things, Mercedes-Benz, Fortress, 90,000 people, what have you. Then traditionally what we'll do, you go over the matchups and then you go over the players to watch. We know the players to watch. So what I'm looking for from you is those next level guys on both sides in this matchup, outside of the star power, the next level guys for the success for each of these teams in this matchup on Sunday night. Who would be those next level dudes for you that you're going to keep an eye on down there on the sidelines?
Would you consider Pedro Amador a next level dude?
I think so. Because if you're looking at the four horsemen up top or slam or whatever you want to call them, then that's where your focus is for Atlanta United. So then Amador for me at left back coming off of injury, getting back to full song, I would classify that, yes.
And I think you go back to that playoff series to see the sort of impact that he can have. And look, every good team needs multiple manners of creating goal scoring opportunities. And I think that's where sometimes, the Moranchuk conversation can get a little bit out of ahead of itself because so much pressure is being put on him. Now that's natural given his price tag. But like Atlanta United need to find ways to vary what they're challenging backlines with. And it can't always be Moranchuk centrally playing through balls to that front three. Sometimes you need to be able to hold the ball a little bit, recycle it around, get Amador in a place for an early cross or from that end line cross, and he has the quality to do it. And then you play second balls off of that, and you have opportunities to score. I think Pedro Amador is a guy that the Inter Miami will remember quite distinctly, and for good reason. And so, look, given what we've seen so far from Emmanuel Latte-Lath, and we don't know if he's going to play, so that's a big question mark.
Right.
Regardless, I think that service from Amador is going to be a pathway to some goal scoring opportunities for Atlanta. So he would be the one that I would look at in particular. On the Miami side, I am just so impressed by Yannick Bright. I'm just sort of in awe in his ability to go from playing college soccer in the Northeast into an Inter Miami team where he had no guarantees at all. And within a month or two had earned not just a first team contract, but the trust of a guy like Sergio Busquets to play next to him. And look, Yannick Bright's no dummy. He understands what his job is. Fight, harry, work hard, run, do the things that Sergio needs next to him to be his best. But what was really impressive to me against Houston is just the way that he connects with the players around him and the simplicity with which he plays, but he still has those 3-4 moments a game where he recognizes this can be my moment. Sergio is going to sit a little bit. He's He's going to play me. There's a hole in front of me. Everybody's looking at somebody else. I'm going to burst into the space. I may not be the guy that finishes this play, but I'm going to be a guy who starts the play. I think Yannick Bride is a guy to watch out for because it's easy to get distracted by all the big names, all the attacking firepower. And then all of a sudden he comes bursting out of midfield after turning you over or after running you down. And you're like, oh, well, Yannick Bride is leading a 3v2 against us right now. What are we going to do? And those are the sort of players in this league in particular that you've got to get right. And Atlanta United knows that from their championship seasons. The guys that are sort of on the fringe, nobody thought would be at a certain level and play above it. And that's how good teams become great in this league.
Cut the promo for me because I know you got to go.
Oh, I'm just so excited to be in Atlanta. I've gotten I just hit the Instagram of the pit, and I'm seeing some images that if I'm not there for them, I'm gonna really be kicking myself. So I'm looking for things pregame to just go experience. My job, in large part, is to help bring people watching at home inside the game experience, inside the soccer culture and the fan culture that you all have established in your respective cities. And I'm a nerd. I'm the uber nerd for this stuff. Like, the jokes on Extra Time back in the day about the march in Cincinnati are jokes, but they hold truth. Like, those are the moments that give me goosebumps that I remember forever, even more so than the games themselves. So if there's an experience pregame that you think I need to experience and that you want the world to see, please holler at me. Get at me in my DMs. Just at me on Twitter. That would be amazing. And I'm really, really excited to sit down with Miguel Almiron on Saturday. We're going to sit down at the bins and just reminisce. I'll be able to point, hey, that's where you guys scored the game-winning goal in MLS Cup. That's where you and Joseph Dragon Ball Z'd each other repeatedly. This is where you sort of made your career and made the jump to Europe and now are making your home for, the foreseeable future. So tune in to MLS Countdown for that conversation. It's going to be in English and in Spanish, and that's really special to me to get to sit down with him. And then, my God, the game. Do I have to promo the game? I don't think I do. 7 p.m. Eastern, Sunday Night Soccer, Atlanta, Miami, playoff rematch. It's going to be an absolute treat.
Yep, lot 17 is where you want to go. That's where the supporters groups all hang out.
I'll see you in lot 17. I heard there's a game where it's like a rondo, but with booze, and be careful. Don't knock down the high percentage booze because you might be consuming something that changes your day. I don't think I can do that for professional reasons, but
no. But
no.
Yes, that is an accurate description of one of the games that happens. It is a rondo. I have seen it. But yes, lot 17 is your location to get everything and the experience, and then come into the building, and it might be loud a little bit. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for crashing early here in the morning on a Thursday. I know that because of production elements and things like that in meetings, you kind of had to juggle things around. But thanks for crashing on a busy Thursday. Be safe getting down here. We will see you when you get down here this weekend. Andrew, thanks for dropping by.
I appreciate you, John. I'll see you this weekend.
You got it. There goes Andrew. So Andrew Wiebe has survived the morning show. He survived the morning show. Yes, we've tried to give him a couple of different places to go eat. Hit him up on his IG, the Gram or the Insta, or on the Twitters, and let him know where he should go eat, what he should go see, what he should go do. Lot 17, and yes, the how do we phrase it? The activities in lot 17. Yeah, the Hoff and I went out into lot 17, and we actually got there last time as that particular activity was happening. And let's just suffice to say it was a bit of an adventure, at least for me anyway. But no, you are all far braver than I ever could be. But yeah, so Andrew and everybody coming down, and they're going to be down here for interviews and countdown and Sunday Night Soccer here on Apple TV, and it's going to be, I've heard a couple of people might show up for this one. So no, it'll be fun. The Gulfstream Galacticos and Atlanta United, and we'll discuss it later on with Niko as one of the games to watch, and then we'll discuss it tomorrow in Weekend Whip Round as we get you ready for the weekend. Atlanta United 2 goes and takes on Orlando City B also on Sunday night, and that will be on that will also be on, I want to say it's on Apple TV. We'll double check it. But with simultaneous acts, there'll be a Twos review after the fact with Atlanta United and OCB. And we'll discuss that once again toward the end of the weekend and getting you ready for the week. So once again, thanks to MLS. And here's to hoping that that is the first of a lot of interviews that we have involving Apple TV and MLS personalities as they come through here this season. It's basically doesn't have to be necessarily tied to Atlanta United. And so hopefully we can have a lot more Major League Soccer folks in and discussing what's going on around the league, discuss what's going on with their particular match, all those kinds of things. So very, very cool. So once again, thanks to Andrew, thanks to Major League Soccer for making that go down. And we're getting ready for hour number 2. So let's see. Let me get the promos in before we get to our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV, where we go fully loaded and go around the world in 30 minutes. So let's see. Mentioned opening kickoff, and that was with Doug Irwin. So once again, you can go to Olive and York and get the SDH jersey. You can get the Soccer Down Here jersey presented by our friends at Kaiser Permanente. The Navy jersey, you can get it personalized either in white numerals and letters or in the Carolina blue. You have your choice. Consult with Abby because she has one direction, and you can take a look at what she has done, and you can sit there and gauge for yourself what you want. So you can help out all of our Soccer for Good programs. Thanks to Kaiser Permanente, thanks to Beyond Goals, thanks to our Soccer for Good folks. And those the proceeds from that are going to go help out some of our Soccer for goodness that we have earmarked in 2025. Also, don't forget, you can help out the Marshall Islands Soccer Federation. You can get your Marshall Islands scarf. I have them here on the other side of the door. If you want, you can get all the other Marshall Islands stuff. That gets shipped from London. Scarf, I either see you at the Benz or I ship it to you from the other side of this door. So that way you can help out the Marshall Islands. Also, Grady Baby Co. with our collaboration that we have with them there. Then what you can do, the soccer is just better in Atlanta in the gold lettering. You can either get it in the red or the black, and you can either get it T-shirt, sweatshirt. We have both sweatshirts here in the house. The boss has commandeered the black one because she cannot wear red under any circumstance whatsoever. So there you go. So you see me wearing the red, and that's on purpose because the black one I no longer have possession of. So there you go. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Oh, the Fanaticos. So become a Fanatico. And thanks to those of you who have become Fanaticos, by the way. And it's $10 a year. And what you do is for that $10 a year, what you get is the opportunity to be a Fanatico. $10 a year, you get access to exclusive discounts all over Atlanta at some of your favorite breweries, pubs, soccer retail stores, hotels, comedy theaters, and much, much more. You get exclusive access to our group on the Chant app. On the Chant app. Right here. Stay better connected to all that we do on SDH. To sign up, group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. Group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. You can do that, $10 a year, and you get to be a part of that particular group there. So let me knock out the spaces before our buddy Nino Torres joins us, and I can have that as perhaps a lower third. And let's see, group.chant.fan. See, now this is me kind of like going, what did I do here? All right, so group.chant.fan. So I can't go past that point. So there, so that. So then I went entirely too far. So group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. Oh, actually I did it right. Okay, cool. All right, so about time. I'm trying to do it blindly. There you go. And I thought I knocked out that last period. Anyway, group.chant.fan/soccerdownhere/join. You can go on the Chant app and you can be a part of everything that we do here on the SDH network. That includes perhaps getting a discount at one of the Tires Plus locations here in the footprint, or if you wanted to go to a resort in Costa Rica, you actually would, if you wanted to go to Chateau Arenal and you are a Fanatico, you literally could get a code and you could jump in and just go to Chateau Arenal, get a discount, and go see Saprissa, Alajuelense, or Herediano, or just go and hang out in Costa Rica. So that's how wide-ranging this is. You get a lot of the breweries, and you get a lot of places to go eat. It's Lloyd's Soccer Shop. They have discounts on certain Atlanta United gear. And then you can also, once again, you can go to Costa Rica. You can go hang out in Costa Rica at Chateau Arenal. So very, very cool there. Group.chant.fan youtube.com/soccerdownhere/join. Reminder, once again, 5:30, 7:30, Hampton at Eagles Landing. Boys match at 5:30, girls match at 7:30. I don't know what conditions are going to be like, and that might be why they have flipped them. So we'll see what happens there. So that is on the network. Go to our Mixlr channel, soccerdownhere.mixlr.com, or download the Mixlr app, and you can follow Soccer Down Here or SDH2. Hampton, Eagles Landing, 5:30, 7:30 on the network. Tomorrow we are at Johnson Gainesville for GAC and Johnson Gainesville, the doubleheader up there. Soccer is in session is at noon today. We catch up with folks at GAC and Johnson, and we also catch up with our friends in Toombs County. So once again, that's from noon to 1 across the network. Let you know what's going on in and around the state when it comes to high school soccer. So very, very cool stuff across the board when it comes to a very, very, very busy time of year for all of us and a lot of folks across the board. Like I said, in something akin to opening kickoff, I didn't see it. I know that everybody had that one Zapruder angle where it looked like Julian Alvarez double touched it. I didn't see I didn't see his left boot move. I didn't see it flinch. I didn't see the ball rotate funnier. So like I said, I might be just old and silly, but I didn't see it move. Like I said, maybe I'm blind and maybe I'm old. I don't know. But that ended up knocking that conversion off the board. Real Madrid goes on to win yesterday. Big win for them, and they advance. And there was much consternation. So that was a lot of going on. So, all right, before we get into hour number 2, morning Alex, morning Kefsi. Let's see. And Alex, do not take food Rex from John. Of course, I eat like a 5-year-old. I do. That's not in dispute. Cincy Soccer Talk is in this morning. Welcome back. The Omni Breakfast and Coffee. Okay. Let's see. Needs to get it to 9 Mile Station at Pont City Market. Coffee and eggs for Cincy Soccer Talk. Let's see. Botiwala at Ponce, according to Alex. Morning 4 card. And yes, Alex sits in this house preaching points in March count the same as points in September. That is absolutely true. Yes. Am I the reserve group or the general admission group, according to KFC? Alex, will we be at lot 17? I think we're trying to encourage that. Morning, Harry. And let's see. So 4 cards got a busy day. Fasting, Sunday League, coaching U9-10, and then the Sunday night soccer before you break your fast right before halftime. Morning 4 card, morning David, and morning Will. All right. So now it is hour number 2, which means one thing. It means one thing. We tour the planet, and this is what we do. We tour the planet, and our first stop is where we go fully loaded and go around the world where I know topics exist. I know they exist, but I have yet to see them, and that's the fun of this, is that I kind of know what we want to talk about a little bit just because of, like watching matches and stuff, and because of what we cover here on the network. But I have not seen the topics that this gentleman is bringing to the table. And so now we're going to bring him to the table. It's our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV. And so here we go with Nino. And we go fully loaded, yellow on a Thursday, brother.
Yellow. Soccer Down Here fans. Nino Torres on the call here for you and my boy Johnny. Thank you for having me like every week. All pumped about what's going on in soccer, man. It's a lot to talk about today, man. A lot.
Yes, there is. And so this is where I hit the button. I hit the button and I get your topics for the first time as I sit here and watch. And we'll start with Julian Alvarez and the infamous penalty rules, because there's some VAR to talk about here. There's penalty rules. He dumped. Oh, he's hitting buttons on me. He's hitting buttons. Bro, what's going on?
Sorry.
What are you doing?
I just gotta get the Ethernet cable connected. But yeah, sorry. We're good. We're good now.
All right. So we're leading off with our buddy Julian Alvarez and the Madrid derby and the chaos that was there. like I said, I might be old and dumb and blind, but I didn't see the ball flinch or rotate because they had that close up that was right there. I didn't see the ball move when they said that it hit that it was a double touch, wiped off the board, and no good. And then Real Madrid ends up winning. Dude, I didn't see it. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it. And then the Simeone in the press conference, he asked the entire room, "Hey guys, whoever saw the double touch, raise your hand." Nobody. Okay, next question. You know, he just took it up like that because that was. I'm so mad. But at the same time, this is what it comes down to when you're not getting the job done during the 90 minutes, during the 120 minutes. If you would have scored another goal, case closed, brother. Case closed. We will not be talking about this situation about the penalties and not penalties. And then no, you scored the 2 goals and you through the next round, right? That's on you, okay? But to the specifics of this dumb, stupid rule, all right? Let's in penalty shootouts. Because we gotta separate, right? The penalties during during regulation and the penalty shootouts. I believe that there's way too many rules that are going for the striker and not for the goalie. Right now, the goalie, and they were used to dance. Now that's how he lost the penalty shootout with Australia, because the guy was hanging around there, distracting the shooter. No, you can't do that anymore. You can put the feet on the line. You gotta be, all right, give me something, brother. I'm the goalie. I'm the one against the wall here. You gotta these guys firing against me. I can't do anything else. No. And I love that approval and that new rule that what is it? If you what's the rule again? If the goalie saves the penalty and there's a rebound, nobody can finish the play.
Okay,
right? I love that, but that doesn't happen during the penalty shootout, right? Because it's just that's it. You save it and that's it. But in this particular case, it's never ever when the player hits the ball with both feet, he does it intentionally. So there's no intention in that aspect. Okay, so if that happens, retake the penalty. Just retake the penalty. In the same way that when the goalie steps out of the line, they gotta take it again. Well, the same way. Just if you have hit it with both feet, I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Take another chance. And that's what I believe it should happen. I don't know if this is going to happen because they already made the changes this year. I don't think that they're going to make changes next year. But it could set a precedent today. I mean, about this situation, they're going to review that. I'm pretty sure they're going to review that because it's not just Real Madrid, it's just the entire planet that are watching. And I think it will be fair. It will be fair to review that.
Well, I mean, in golf, there was a famous play where, and it was in a major tournament, where the ball was sunk in rough near a green, and the rough was, 3-4 inches thick.
Right.
Dude takes a swing, makes contact with the ball, and then in his follow through makes contact with the ball again. So basically, it was a double hit, and it was a 2-stroke penalty in addition to the initial contact that was made. So it's a TC Chin, and I want to say it was in the U.S. Open. So, and this is like 20 years ago, but still in golf, literally, dude made contact, ball popped up into the air. His follow through, he hit the ball again. So it's like a double hit and a 2-stroke penalty, I think was what it was. So, I mean, we've seen this kind of a thing before where it happened, but like I said, I didn't see it. And even if you do hit it twice, that's on you, and the ball goes wherever it goes. I mean, if the ball ends up going into row 38, if you hit it twice, that should be the end of it. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, again, it's just it's the intentionality of the action that I'm focused on in here, because during regulation, when it comes down to fouls, when it comes down to actions, that end up or not in a goal. You review the play and then you review if there was intentionality or not, and that's what I think it should be discussed on this particular topic about the double touch, man.
So then, what about VAR and the aspect of VAR? And this was a point that was made by some pundits here in the United States. It's like, well, why is VAR getting involved in something like this? And you're spending all this time like zeroing in on this one particular moment. And it's like, it's back 2 frames, forward 2 frames. Do we see it? Do we not? So a lot of folks, and the length of time it took for VAR to view it too was another part of this whole thing.
And this is the first time that we've seen this. We haven't seen this before during the penalty shootout. Okay, and when you come up with the magnifying glass, it's just easier to spot something. Oh, right there, But again, it just drives me crazy about VAR. I'm so happy now that the Wenger rule is going to take place. Right.
Yep.
That's huge. It's going to change the game big time, Johnny. We're going to see lots more goals coming because of that rule. So this is going to keep. They're going to keep perfecting this system of the VAR. Sometimes I don't like it's perfected that much because we're going to be like freaking robots. I mean, I can call the AI guys to play instead of the real players, but it's crazy.
Yep. So that is topic number 1, and so now Real Madrid advances through, and
again,
yes, again. Gee, that never happens, and so you now have the round set, and when you look at, and I'm going back to just check the matchups really quickly before we keep rolling here, but yeah, now that they've advanced, now they've made it through. I know the world is shocked. That when it comes to this particular matchup. But so now it is Arsenal, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Inter, Barcelona, Dortmund, PSG, Aston Villa. That's your final 8 in April 8 and 9.
Is it Dortmund PSG?
Dortmund Barca.
Dortmund Barca. Who plays PSG?
Villa. Aston Villa.
I'll take PSG all the way. I can tell you that right now. I'll tell you that right now. Right now, and like who said this? Who picked PSG, Barcelona in the finals? Oh, Vieri, Toro Vieri. He predicted these finals. PSG, Barcelona. He said these are his finalists. And I don't know about Barcelona, maybe, but I'm taking PSG to go all the way to the finals.
Okay, because PSG gets through Villa, then they get the winner of Arsenal and Real Madrid in the semis, and then
baby, Luis Enrique, brother, Luis Enrique has something personal on Real Madrid, so he, I can't wait for that, brother. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, Barca, Dortmund, Bayern, and Inter is the bottom half of the bracket, and then Arsenal, Real Madrid, PSG, and Villa. That's your final 8 in the Champions League going forward. All right, so topic number 2. And like I said, we here on the network, we have our buddy Howard Hamilton, who has the Copa Libertadores show. And you have here, no more reservations. All tables are full for the Copa Libertadores. Please explain your restaurant, sir.
Yes, sir. My restaurant had these dudes that have been paying for their tickets for a long time, and I finally got it. We got 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 Peruvian teams in the round in the knockout stage. Universidad de Deportes, Sporting Cristal, and Alianza Lima. Unfortunately, Melgar couldn't get the job done yesterday against Cerro Porteño. It was complicated. They knew it was complicated because they lost at home 1-0, and they got to go to Asunción to try to pull up a result that in the end, Cerro Porteño showed up big time, 4-2, and we could have had 4, but I'm happy with 3. I'm happy with 3 because on top of this, right, the Alianza Lima advancing into knockout stage on the way down from the winning 3 rounds of qualifiers. This is the first Peruvian team has ever done this, Johnny. First time in the history of the Copa that a Peruvian team advances from the first round, second round, or third round of qualies to get to a knockout stage. So this is huge. This is huge. All right, and it is crazy because there was a lot of hate from Argentina and from Peru in regards to Pipo Gorosito, which is the coach of Alianza Lima. They were saying, "Ah, Pipo Gorosito does saying no, he's a bust. He's not this. He's not that." There you go, brother. There you go. Doing something for the first time with a Peruvian team. It is just remarkable. And last night, I want to talk about last night too, because this is also huge. If there is a club, now, if there is a country with clubs that can stand up against the Brazilians in Brazil, it's Ecuador. I know they lost. I know they lost 2-0, but that's not the point because they got series done back in Guayaquil the first round, the first leg, 3-0. So if we go back and we review the series between Ecuadorian clubs and Brazilian clubs in the last 5-6 years, you'll see a very even numbers in terms of who's advancing and who's not. Okay, and that brings me to what, Nino? Brings me to this, that in the Copa Libertadores, not just in Copa Libertadores, but in CONMEBOL, Libertadores and Sudamericana, the country with the most points outside of Brazil and Argentina is Ecuador. 51% of the points won by Ecuadorian clubs in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, it's an absolute truth now. It's just not a rumor anymore that about the Ecuadorians having the third best league in the continent. It's a reality. It's a fact now.
Alianza Lima advances over Deportes Iquique in Chile back 2 days ago. Cerro Porteño beat Melgar, and they were a minus 135 going into the matchup in 90 minutes. They won 4-2, and then you mentioned Corinthians beating Barca in the matchup at a minus 345. So that is where it currently is. We have the one match today involving Boston River. It is Bahia and Boston River. It was goalless in the first leg, and so what's your gut telling you with Barca coming through, Cerro Porteño winning 5-2, and the composite Alianza Lima winning 3-2, and so what's Bahia and Boston River looking like for you?
Yeah, that's Boston. That's today, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's today. And it's the second leg is in Uruguay.
That's at Bahia.
It's in Brazil. Okay, and it's my boy. I always give you these little things, right? It's Bahia.
Bahia. Thank you.
Bahia.
Okay.
So I like Boston River a lot, man. I love Boston River a lot, and you know what? It's crazy. The Boston River has fans in Kentucky.
What?
Yes. The Boston River has fans in Kentucky. They're a small group, and they always when I come up with the games of Boston River, hey, this is the Boston River fans from Kentucky, and I'm like, okay, guys, all right. So that's unique. That is unique, and I think what's his name? Damiani. Was it Damiani? Bruno Damiani, I think, is the striker for Boston River, if I'm not mistaken. I think Boston River has chances. I mean, this is a very even matchup, but I think that they might go to penalties. They might go to penalties in this series, and to see who's the one who advances, because it's well leveled this series, man. Well leveled.
Barca will take on Cerro Porteño in the next go-round, and the winner of Bahia Boston River will take on Alianza Lima as we get closer and closer to figuring out who's going to win Copa Libertadores in 25. All right, topic number 3. Will Pacho, Ecuador, and the Valley of Dreams – Will Pacho, Ecuador, and the Valley of Dreams in Sangolquí.
Sangolquí.
Yes.
Sangolquí, yes. I've been following these Ecuadorians in Europe, And lately, it's just remarkable how the defenders of Ecuador are just growing so much, so much. Will Patcher shut down none other one than Mo Salah, brother. He shut down Mo Salah. He didn't shut down freaking Nino Torres in the Sunday League. No, no, no. It was Mo Salah, man. That's remarkable. And having said that, you got Purvis Estupiñán in the Premier League. You got Will Patcher playing PSG. You got what's the other kid? Pedro Hincapié for Bayer Leverkusen. So you put the names in line, and ahead of those guys is Mo Caicedo. So arguably, Ecuador has probably the strongest, or one of the two strongest defenses in CONMEBOL. In CONMEBOL with young players, right? Because these guys are young. Will Patch is young. Mo is young. We're talking about under 24-year-old players performing at the highest level in Europe. And where are these guys coming from? They're coming from the Valley of Dreams in San Joaquin. That's what they call it, el Valle de los Sueños, the Valley of Dreams in San Joaquin. That's where Independiente del Valle have their academy, all right? But not just the academy. They have the academy there, and they have the stadium in there. Everything is tied together. And in this academy, what Independiente del Valle does is this. They send their scouts. By the way, they only have 3 scouts that are going all across the country, right? All across the country. Those 3 scouts, each of them have 500 players that they got to check, right? And at the end, every scout brings only 3 players out of 500, okay? And then go to the academy in San Joaquin. They got housing, they got food, they got education, and they get to train with the first team. It's 300 kids that live in San Joaquin all year round, all taken care of, and they are, they're just the products that are coming out of Independiente del Valle's farm system. They don't return. They go to Europe and they don't come back the next year like Colombians or Peruvians or Chileans. Why? Because they got these strong fundamentals out of this Valley of Dreams that it's crazy, because when it comes to education, it's not like, all right, no, you can't go to training because you're going to go to history class. No, no, no. It doesn't work like that. They have their schedule for the training. And then, hey, I don't have training here. I can fit my class here. I can fit my class there. So they choose the classes and what time they can go based on the training sessions. Okay, if I have strength training today, I can go to this. Oh, I can go this. They decide where to go and when to go to take these classes. And everyone takes English. Everyone should speak English. At the end of their time in San Joaquin, they're well prepared, they're well versed to speak English, and they're ready to roll, perform at the highest level in the world. That's the Valley of Dreams to San Joaquin. That's why Will Patch is coming from Independiente del Valle. That's why Mo Caicedo comes from Independiente del Valle. You name it. In the last 5 years, Independiente del Valle has sold 15 players for over $10 million. So that's they are the club that everyone look up to, man. Everyone look up to in South America. Matter of fact, Universidad Deportes send their the technical director to spend I think 2 weeks. They spend in San Joaquin checking all their systems. And I'm trying to do benchmarking in order to bring some of that knowledge to Peru in order to get Universidad Deportes to take off to the next level.
So then, sir, why does Uruguay produce more strikers than any other league in the Americas?
There's only one reason. It's a simple reason, right? But it's a simple reason and so easy to follow, but nobody else does. What is it then? It's that they play every single week. 70. Look at this number, because I was doing this. I was gonna do a live session later here for my Spanish audience. 75% of the forwards in Uruguay are starters, and 75% is under 23. You got under 23 strikers, forwards that play every single week in the top flight division in Uruguay. Nobody else in CONMEBOL has it. I guarantee that nobody else has it in CONCACAF either. Okay, I don't know the numbers in CONCACAF, but tell me when was the last time they get a Salvadorian world-class striker or Mexican world-class striker? There's none. You cannot name one. Tell me how many strikers from Uruguay I can. It's just arguably the best strikers factory in the Americas, all the Americas.
Okay. Now you've given me homework. I got to figure out Salvadoran national football team strikers and things like that. See, I got to look like Tomas Romero and all that kind of stuff. We go through at the end of every show. We go through gossip, rumor, and innuendo. Who's looking at what and going where? And since you spend time in Portugal, I'm going to add this topic before you go. Right now, once again, it's rumor. You're only you just cleared the halfway point of the season in Europe, basically, for a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Victor Gyökeres, Manchester United is now not listed as a part of the discussion for picking up Gyökeres to go and help out Ruben Amorim. There are other clubs in the Premier League not named Manchester United that are interested, Chelsea, City, etc. But now Manchester United doesn't seem to be a part of that discussion. What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I knew it was going to happen. I knew it because number one, the age of Victor Gyökeres. He's going to turn 27 in June. All right, 27. All right, and you in the Premier League, you don't get strikers over 25. No, this is just that's the way the business, the soccer business, work now. You got over 25. It's not at top 5 elite leagues prospect. It's not. He might go. I don't know where he's gonna go. I don't think if he goes. I don't think honestly at the end of the first season, yes, because he was still 25. Then he turned 26, and then now it's going to turn 27. It's a different story. It's a different ballpark. Once you cross the 25-year-old mark, it's a different story. Okay, and but I said it yesterday. I was watching it. I was watching the Madrid derby. And oh boy, I would love to see Victor Gyökeres playing in Atletico Madrid with Julian Alvarez and Griezmann. That would be sensational. That would be just because I forgot the name of the striker that was playing the number 9 for Madrid. You got it, Johnny? No. What's the name? Limbo?
Lunglock. Yeah, Lunglock.
That guy. Yeah, Victor Gyökeres is 15 times better than that guy. 15 times better. So that if there is a chance, he will go there. And I don't want to pat myself on this, but I'm going to do it a little bit because when Sammy Lino was playing for Gil Vicente, right? I said this. I was calling the games. I got a lot of games from Gil Vicente in that season before he made his move. This is the best player for a counterattack system. This is the best player in counterattacks that you can use. And I would love to see Dio Simeone taking this guy. Where is he playing now? Atletico Madrid. Good
job. So I'm looking at Kenda, who is 17 right now, market value 30 million euro. And you know that folks are going to be banging on his door. They're going to be banging on Sporting's door to pull out a 17-year-old right winger. You know that's going to happen.
That's a different story there.
Diamande is 21. Ignacio is 23. Zeno de Bast is 21. Conrad Harder is 19. So there are some folks.
Yeah, Geni Katama also.
So you're looking at folks that I think honestly, that number one name at the top of everybody's list is probably going to be Kenda, I would imagine.
For sure. for sure. He's probably alongside with Rodrigo Mora from Porto, the two more talented players in the Premier League right now, by far, by a long mile. These are the best two names in the business in Portugal this season. And I won't be surprised if somebody takes Kenda and Mora. I think Mora is going to stay one more season. Morris is going to stay one more season because he's just started to getting more minutes. Whereas Kenda, he already got it the season before. He's a regular starter all season long. It's a different story there. Kenda is one step ahead of Rodrigo Mora in terms of readiness to be
at
to
the
be
age
sold.
of 17, man. So what are you calling this weekend?
We got the Porto game, we got the Benfica game, and we got a couple of games for. I got Boston River. Yeah, I got Boston River. Yeah, it's so fun, man. I was so shocked when this. We're from Kentucky. We love Boston River. And it's like, man, this is so out of the blue, man. But every time I come Boston River, these guys are on, and I think they set up a watching party to watch Boston River or something in Kentucky. It's crazy.
Watching party, Boston River in Kentucky. Three things I know. Porto at home against AVS is a -435, 2:00 on Saturday afternoon. And Benfica Sunday, 2:00 is at Rio Ave, and they are a -278 in the middle of the pile. As always, my friend, great to see you. Great to get the education. And just be safe. Have fantastic calls. Where's the boss? Where's your security system? Yeah, there he is. Security system ready to go at any moment. As always, my friend, love you very much, and we'll catch up with you next week.
See you guys. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
There goes Nino Torres from GOLTV, and you can get GOLTV at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get GOLTV, you can get GOLTV, and you can get GOLTV. In addition, you can get things like all the BNs, and you can get Nuestro Telecidio for the fans, Tayce, Liga One Max, Liga One Max Pro, all the things. You can get that all in one place at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. Jason got me hooked on Fanatis, so I blame him. So there you go. Coming up in a couple of minutes, it's our buddy Niko Moreno. Apparently, Alex has already gotten the notification on everything involving public service announcement from Will. Huntsville and Chattanooga has moved up due to severe weather Saturday to 1 Eastern, noon Central time. And, fact, settle it before the PKs, 4-card in dealing with the reffing situation and the double hits on PKs and things like that. Connor Gallagher is not a name that I would have had on my bingo card. Did not have Connor Gallagher's name on my bingo card for getting the first goal on the board for Atleti in the first minute. I was like, well, that's new. That's a quick start. And then Vinicius misses a penalty, and you're sitting there thinking, okay, it might be their day. And then it drags on and goes 120 minutes, and then it gets to PKs, and then you have stuff to talk about, and now you've got your final 8 in Champions League. So that's the rundown for Champions League and all of the things. But yes, so Alex says Summer Series pre-sale tickets dropped 200 in the lower bowl in the corners, paid less than half of that for better seats for the last Summer Series. And Alex, it wouldn't surprise me if it was something akin to a Man U tax. But as I said, look at the secondary market, keep an eye on it. And, if you just want to get in the building, just get in the building. We were going over the Club World Cup prices, and the get-in the upper tank for a couple of the early ones were under $100. You had the one random person that was trying to sell upper tank for like 417, and everything else around them is less than 100. So apparently you have a Summer Series pre-sale. Not surprising, it's expensive for the doubleheader. So we'll see what happens there with the doubleheader in the Summer Series. But as always, once again, great to catch up with our buddy Nino Torres at GOLTV and find out what's going on with him in Peru. So coming up in a couple of minutes, it'll be Niko Moreno, where we get to discuss anything and everything going on in Major League Soccer. We'll go over match week 3. We'll go over CONCACAF. We'll go over the big injuries that happened in Seattle, and we'll see if there's any latest in those. And then they've got to get ready for match week 4. They've got to get ready for, meaning Seattle. They got to get ready for this run. They got to get ready for Club World Cup coming up in 2 months. and you may not have Paul Arriola. Jordan Morris, you hope, is not anything serious, so you can have him come back. But, yeah, that was an adventure. That was definitely an adventure for everybody in Seattle over the last couple of days. Okay, so now apparently UEFA has come out with a statement involving Julian Alvarez. Atletico de Madrid inquired with UEFA over the incident which led to the disallowance of the kick up from the penalty mark taken by Julian Alvarez at the end of yesterday's UEFA Champions League match against Real Madrid. Although minimal, the player made contact with the ball using his standing foot before kicking it, as shown in the attached video clip. Under the current rule, Laws of the Game Law 14.1, the VAR had to call the referee, signaling that the goal should be disallowed. UEFA will enter discussions with FIFA and IFAB to determine whether the rule should be reviewed in cases where a double touch is clearly unintentional. So that is your that is your response from UEFA. Basically, Law of the Game 14.1 said, yeah, he did it, and you have to disallow it. But UEFA says, yeah, we'll talk. We'll talk with FIFA and with IFAB. So that seems to be that is your rundown of what happened yesterday with Julian Alvarez and what went down with the penalties. And so now, like I said, we have the final 8. But, yeah, in the final 4, you're looking at Real Madrid and PSG on one side. So get your viewing ready. So that should be an interesting one going forward, looking at that particular part of the bracket. Europa League is kicking off today, later this afternoon. And so why don't we go through the juice boxes there, since we're thinking about it? Since I think it's Europa and Europa Conference, I think, are this afternoon. So Europa League, by the way, all 16 teams are going. Bilbao, and you have 4 at 145 and 4 at 4. Bilbao favored at home against Roma at a -109. Eintracht Frankfurt favored at home at a -106 against Ajax. Lazio, big favorite, a -222 hosting Victoria Pilsen at a +600. Olympiacos -175 hosting Bodo Glimt. Lyon at a -263 hosting FCSB at a +736 in the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. Manchester United a +102 hosting Real Sociedad at a +303. Rangers a dog at home at a +179 hosting Fenerbahce, and Spurs a -250 hosting AZ Alkmaar at a +656. Last half hour on a Thursday. We know what that means. I'm hoping that Niko got some sleep. Maybe got a couple more HRs than he has in the past when he's been having the late nights with CONCACAF rolling in here on a Thursday. He's nodding his head in the green room, so it sounds like he did. We'll find out what cup of coffee he's on. And here's our buddy Niko Moreno. How are you, my friend? And you broke out the lid. That's you had more prep time. You broke out the lid. You're ready to go.
What's going on? Everything all right, guys? Excited to be here, and maybe quite the opposite. When I wear a hat, it's because I don't do my hair, so I definitely slept a little in this morning. It was a late one with all the CONCACAF. I ended up watching maybe way too much soccer last night.
No such thing.
Woke up like at 2:30, I think. I'm just like, oh man, TV's still going. So, yeah, man, but excited to be here. Lots to talk about. It's really one of those weeks where there were some good games, there were some awful injuries, there was some good CONCACAF games. There's just a variety of things that we can get into today.
Yes, sir. And we will start with your Conca champions, and we'll start locally. It was not a good night to wrap things up for Seattle on a bunch of different fronts. And you were paying attention to the TV broadcast on our friends over at 2NA, and you caught some notes on Paul Arriola, and you now have Paul Arriola concerns. You have Jordan Morris concerns. Since the match, when Seattle got bounced out of Conca Champions, what is the latest as you know it?
Yeah, everything that I've been able to find out in regards to Paul Arriola is that he is unfortunately uh, out for the season. It will be a season-ended injury. Like you said, I mean, just throughout the broadcast, they were talking about the amount of pain Paul Arriola was in. He gets carted out, sent off in an ambulance. There, you could hear the screams of pain and suffering in the broadcast. But later down the road, I've been able to find things here and there, and it appears that it is an ACL injury. We will wait for confirmation, of course, as always, from the club, and see what they let us know. But as far as I've been able to find out, Paul Arriola, a player that has been outstanding for the moment he walked into uh, the training field for this Sounders team. He's been good on and off the field. Has integrated perfectly with this group of players, and had been one of the most consistent players from the very beginning of 2025. So a big loss. I know people have been talking about, he's just a co-stellar player. He's just another, like depth piece. But I think he had been more than that on the leadership end, and his versatility and what he provided, I thought was pretty substantial. So Seattle will have the need to go out there and look for a replacement, whether they feel that is going to be a winger or a wing back. Obviously, Reed Baker Whiting should be back at some point. He was training last week, according to Brian Smetzer. So maybe that helps you out there, but I really do think that Seattle will need to go and find a replacement piece for Paul Arriola being out.
I was going to ask now, how does this orient things for the short term? In one case, hopefully with Jordan Morris from a Seattle perspective, and you mentioned the long term with Arriola. So how does the starting 11 look now, especially on a quick turn, and how does it look going forward? How much change do you anticipate now with these injuries, both long-term and short-term?
It's a great question because Brian has said consistently that he still doesn't know what the starting 11 looked like even before these injuries. So now that there are those injuries, it's really hard to say. He has been really apprehensive about playing Jesus Ferreira at the 9. Now, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's more on what Ferreira provides a little bit deeper in terms of connectivity, link-up play, creativity. You saw him put that great ball into Kalani in the LAFC game just recently, so maybe that's why. But in my opinion, there is more cover. There is more depth in those midfield areas than up top. Because if Danny Musowski, who's been used as your number 2 striker, really, because anytime that Jordan's come off, he's the one that comes in. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence. And I'm glad that Musowski got a goal at Cruz Azul in Estadio Olímpico. I really am. Maybe he helps them boost some confidence and kind of open the gates of goals that have not been there at all since he arrived in Seattle. So maybe that helps out. But in my opinion, I would like to see Pereira as that 9. You got options depending on the formation that you play. With Manungu, you have options with even Obed Vargas playing a little bit higher, and you play JP next to Christian Roldan. So I do think that there is going to be some big changes on what it looks like short term. We don't know what the severity of Jordan Morris's injury is. I hope it's not severe, but the way he grabbed that hamstring, and I said this online, and I want to be very clear that it's not Monday quarterback in this thing, but even at the end of the first half, you could see how exhausted Jordan Morris was. Jordan Morris was one of the least rotated players in this squad. He started just about every game this season. He'd been playing a ton of minutes. The question being why, if you brought in Ferreira as this huge playmaker, why has there been so much hesitation to play him up top? And Jordan Morris, because of that, has been playing a ton of minutes, and he looked exhausted just in the first half. I remember making some notes like right before the 50th minute where Jordan Morris is struggling to get to certain balls, and you could see him forcing his body because he's that guy. He's going to give you that effort. He's not going to ask for a sub because he wants a goal. He wants to help out. But I felt like coach should have brought him off just because of how difficult it seemed for him to get to certain places on the field. So unfortunately, we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully, it's not long term. And we had the Pedro de la Vega, who also came off before that game, of course. But that's 3 big injuries for a squad that the whole purpose of the way this roster was designed and the way that Craig Wiebe, Brian Smetzer, they presented this project, this 2025 roster, was in terms of depth and how the floor was going to be really high and they were going to be able to hit the floor running. Right now, that's a big question mark in figuring out how much depth does this team really have, because no Jordan Morris, no Pedro de la Vega, no Paul Arriola. Those are 3 big pieces that are missing from your overall roster. And to the fans, man, I mean, look, I'm not saying that the season is over and not being over pessimistic, but when it comes specifically to this CCC run, I think that it's fair for them to be upset. Look, this club is supposed to play for trophies. They're supposed to play for greatness, and them getting bounced off as early as they are getting bounced off this CONCACAF Champions Cup. It is a disappointment. It is a failure because Seattle didn't lose this series in Mexico. They lost it in Seattle when they did not take advantage of an opportunity of having a visitor team without 6 key components, 6 key players off that roster, and you were unable to make it count at home. You were unable to put the pressure on the Sul. You were unable to score, and because of that, really, you end up losing this series.
Other matchups to wrap up this particular section. We have the 2 tonight. Cavalier in front of 35,000. Messi and friends are traveling to Cavalier and playing at the National Stadium. Alajuelense is taking on Pumas. That's at 10 o'clock. Last night, Galaxy took care of business, knocking off Herediano 4-1. LAG advances. Club America shuts out Guadalajara. Chivas last night 4-0, so they advance. And the Whitecaps got the Duke at taking on Monterrey. So Vancouver advances. And now we're kind of getting the notion as to what it's going to look like. LAFC works through, Cruz Azul works through, Tigres works through. So we're kind of seeing how things are laying out here, and it is there is going to be some intrigue going forward in some of these brackets in the next round. But MLS's presence in it is dwindling and continues to do so, except here in the second little bits.
Whitecaps was impressive against Monterrey. They really took it to them. I mean, Monterrey ends up tying this game in the 90th minute, I believe, with a bogus handball. I mean, as outrageous of a handball as I can think of.
Yeah.
And that's what they get that 2-2. But with their own system, with their own ability, I thought that Colombian wingback or fullback Ocampo was outstanding the whole game. He gets a great goal. Brian White being Brian White. I mean, Vite. I mean, this team has some players. Unfortunately, they did lose Ryan Gold to a non-contact injury, and that's going to probably be something to look at, and that definitely handicaps their overall potential. But they've been good, man. They took it to Monterrey. Fans were throwing things at the coach, insulting the coach. He went on record after the game and said, look, I understand that fans want us to win, but once you cross a certain line, man, it's kind of hard. So a lot of frustration there in Monterrey, a lot of frustration for this specific team, but man, credit to Vancouver for doing what they did.
Yep. So Vancouver ends up getting the winner of Alajuelense and Pumas, low left. You have LAFC taking on the winner of Cavalier and Messi and friends. And on the right-hand side, it is Club America Cruz Azul, and it is Tigres taking on LAG. So that's your rundown of the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza this week. And so now when you look at things coming out of and this, we have to kind of go back even further in a compressed match week to talk about what happened in match week 3. And you end up with, let me roll through the results here and see what sticks in your brain specifically before we get into match week number 4 with a CONCACAF midweek. So you have all caps putting 3 on LAG, which was a bit of a surprise. I did not have
That's a big one.
I did not have City putting 3 on LAG. Messi and friends down a man. It was Oscar Ustari off of the dog. So they beat Charlotte 1-0, and Charlotte basically just seemed to have the one game plan of, hey, Wilf, go long, and we'll get it to you. Just like run a vert, and then the Geno Smith just throws it long or whatever. Minnesota United shuts out San Jose. San Diego continues to roll up wins. They were a dog at RSL at a plus 351, got the win 3-1 there at RSL. Whitecaps beat CF Montreal. Then they go and beat Monterrey. They've had a busy week. Rapids beat Austin. Fire put 3 on Dallas. Nashville found some goals beating Portland. Goalless draw with Atlanta United and Red Bulls. DC United found goals against Sporting, which was kind of shocking. Toronto's in trouble. Tell me something I didn't know. They get shut out by Cincinnati. Philadelphia shuts out New England. New England's in trouble. Campana is injured. Caleb Porter saying keep the faith already. NYC beats the purple team. Seattle put 5 on LAFC. And Crew and Dynamo were goalless. What stuck out in your mind for match week 3?
Well, St. Louis is impressive. They, I believe, are the only team that has not conceded a goal. I think that they've been outstanding from back to front. All of Mulberg has definitely done a good job at saying, "Hey, we're going to be a team that's hard to break down. We're going to be in every game." And then all of a sudden now you get into this LAG game, and although it wasn't perfect, and we did see some signs of life from the LA Galaxy in this one early, at least. Marco Royce looked better than he has in the past. They had some opportunities, some chances on goal. Gabriel Peck still trying to calibrate his right foot and trying to figure out where he wants the ball. So there were opportunities, but I thought that Harold was fantastic. Probably the best in that particular game. Toucher, Durkin, Klaus, they all were great, and it makes you think if St. Louis can figure out that offense, they're going to be a very complete team. So it was an impressive win for St. Louis. Another one was Wiebe with Philadelphia, continues to score goals, right? He has 6 goals in 3 games. He's tied the record for most goals in 3 games. Now he's going for most goals in 4 games. Cornell and the Philadelphia Union are looking like a real contender in the East. And they just seem to have a very steady way of play and understand where they want the ball, how they want to attack, how they want to defend. Philadelphia's been impressive. And San Diego, that's another team that just seems to know exactly what they want to do. That was a good one for me in the juice boxes this week. In that there were the road dog, definitely a team to watch. They've been interesting. No Chucky, no problem. Good understanding on what they want to do with the ball. I did not have Dreyer for contender of Golden Boot in my bingo cards. So that's been kind of interesting how that plays out. But, man, no, it's just been exciting. And in Seattle with the rotator squad, they take it to LAFC. This was before the Cruz Azul game. It was a nice team win. Obviously, LAFC had a heavy rotated lineup within themselves. But I got to tell you, Steve Cherundolo was all burning up in the head in the post-game conference. I mean, he pulled out his team about effort, about guys that came on. So, LAFC, regardless of having a good squad and some good results, that 5-2 against Seattle, rotated pieces or not, it hurt. So we'll see how they respond back this week.
No doubt. So let's take a peek at match week 4, and here's where we go with cliffhanger. I'll give you numbers. If you want me to stop, we'll stop. You just sit there and interrupt me, and we'll talk about it. Red Bulls and the purple team is one of the two 2:30 matchups Eastern time on Saturday. Red Bulls favored at a plus 127. Toronto and Chicago. Toronto, yeah, basically, yes. Toronto is a plus 106 at home. I'd love to know where the goals are going to come from. Chicago, who we were asking where the goals are going to come from, has it found them at least in the short term. They're a plus 229 dog going to Toronto. The draw, by the way, is a plus 264 for Chicago on the road at Toronto. Yeah, I figured that one might be a
No, that was interesting in terms of numbers. I mean, if you want some easy money, I would not mind that at all. I would actually be willing to just put it on Chicago, period, and maybe add a little bit on the goal plus end. But I mean, with how bad Toronto has been and Chicago, despite not being brilliant, they did get some goals from Dallas. They do seem to have a little bit of talent that can be exploited there at the final third. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I like that.
All right, so 3.5 is a plus 189. 3 is a plus 142. 2.5 is a minus 128. So it changes from 2.5 to 3. That's where you go from minus to plus on your total.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't mind that 3, to be honest. That's very doable enough on both ends. I don't see Chicago keeping a clean sheet either, despite how bad Toronto is. So yeah, then that'd be an interesting one.
All right, so plus 142 in that one for the total when it comes to Chicago and Toronto. Please watch something else. LAFC is a 3:45 Eastern time, which means 3:55. So that means it's on Big FOX. LAFC coming back. They are at home at a minus 137, hosting Austin FC at a plus 373. Austin did not. LAFC did.
Ooh, my, that's a big one. It's a little too rich for my money. That's not there just for fun. I wouldn't fall in that trap, to be honest. Yes, LAFC did play midweek. They played with a full squad. They were tested completely against the Columbus Crew team that had Steve and that LAFC coaching staff sweating bullets for a little bit. But I don't trust Austin enough to go out there and really take care of business at LAFC. What's the draw on that one?
Plus 266 in the composite.
I like that draw. That 266 seems like a good safe number. Steve really surprised me here in Seattle by rotating as much as he did. Maybe he does it again. Maybe you get a rotated squad against Austin, especially with, like I said, how much you tested this core group against Columbus. So yeah, I think a draw is something that I might put a little bit of cash on. Yeah.
All right, Charlotte hosting Cincinnati at 7:30. That starts all your night action. Charlotte's a plus 123 at home. Cincinnati is a plus 212 on the road at Charlotte. DC hosting CF Montreal at a minus 167. CF Montreal north of plus 400. NYC hosting the Revs. NYC is a minus 143. The Revs are a plus 360. Sporting at 8:15, which means 8:25, hosting Minnesota United. Minnesota United had a clunker last week. They're a plus 175 on the road, going to Sporting Kansas City. Dallas hosting Vancouver. Vancouver plus 208, having to hopscotch across a couple of borders. Dallas a plus 114. Houston a minus 130 at home, hosting RSL. All Caps at home, 8:30 Eastern time, which means 8:40. St. Louis City SC is a plus 148, going up against Seattle at a plus 177. Draws a plus 233. What say you?
Oh, let me get the draw all day, every day, man. This is one of those matchups that Seattle and St. Louis can really end up in my opinion. They usually are very evenly matched. I really don't know the way Brian Smetzer is going to bring this lineup and how he's going to figure it out, who he's going to put in. There's so many question marks for Seattle going into this game. And with how organized, how hard to beat St. Louis has been, this could be a little bit of a snoozer there with a 0-0 goal line. But yeah, give me the draw there all day, every day.
Plus 233. San Diego hosting Crew. Intrigue here. San Diego's a plus 139. Crew, a plus 173. Draw is a plus 256. Early test for San Diego FC.
Wow, those are interesting numbers. Very low. Look, San Diego's been a good team, and they've proven it, right? The proof is in the pudding, and they definitely can get results. I do see Columbus in this one, though, trying to figure their own season out. I think that if Nancy's going to do anything, is make sure that punch in the gut that they suffered midweek kind of gets moved on. So I can see Columbus having a good game against San Diego FC, maybe exposing a little bit of those inside channels that they at times tend to have issues covering. So give me Columbus in this one. What's the lineup on goals?
All right, so let's find out the lineup on the goals here. So my guess is we'll start at 2.5. See what it feels like going forward here. Quick note from Cincinnati. Looks like they're finalizing a deal to sign Brad Smith to a supplemental roster spot, according to Laurel Failer and our friends at Queen City Press. 2.5 is a minus 139. 3 is a plus 124. 3.5 is a plus 169.
Ugh. Yeah, I don't know. I just go with the win on Columbus. Not the greatest numbers there for you, but I do like Columbus in this one. I feel like San Diego has had their run. They have. But I can see where Wilfred is going to come in, see where the gaps are at against this San Diego FC team, and take it to them.
San Jose hosting Colorado at a minus 102. Colorado's a plus 249. Sunday, Philadelphia hosting Nashville at a minus 123. Nashville on the road is a plus 300. Portland hosting LAG at 4:45, which means 4:55 Eastern time. Portland a plus 125. LAG a plus 192, and your draw is a plus 262.
Well, that's two bad teams right now, at least. Look, LA Galaxy were able to sharpen their knife a little bit, and they got some goals against Herediano. That might give you a little bit of a boost. Julian Aude is a guy that can definitely build off of that performance. I like what I saw from Fagundes in that one. I'll take LA Galaxy against Portland, man. Portland has been a bit of a mess, just not on the field, but off. I saw some cryptic messages from Super Ish on his IG account. I feel like there's a lot of issues there in Portland. So, yeah, I'll go with LAG on that one. And that could be a bit of an interesting one in terms of goals as well. I might be wondering what the over would be on that one, because that could have some goals.
All right, so let's take the total and see what we can come up with here right now. And looking at the totals once again, traditionally we'll start at 2.5 and see where we go. 2.5 a minus 164. 3 is a plus 101. 3.5 is a plus 145.
Woo! Yeah, no, that's another one where I'll just take my money and run with the LA Galaxy in that one.
Which means we have one more match on the board. It's the late game. Sunday Night Soccer. Go ahead and use the hashtag. We had Andrew Wiebe on the show earlier this morning. Atlanta United, a plus 139 at home against Messi and Friends. Messi and Friends playing against Cavalier tonight. Don't know their travel plans leaving Cavalier in the National Stadium in front of 35,000 in Jamaica. Don't know if they're going to fly home. Don't know if they're going to spend the night, fly back in the morning. Don't know if they're going to fly here. Don't know what their plans are leaving Cavalier to get ready for the late game on Sunday night. That might be the only thing that's a saving grace of them heading straight home. Messi and Friends a plus 167. Draw is a plus 272. Atlanta United favored at a plus 139.
Look, this is going to be I've been waiting for Atlanta to have like a big signature win. They haven't done it. They underwhelmed me a little bit against RSL. Miami has been doing their thing, and they've been able to get results. It hasn't been pretty, hasn't been amazing. Probably the best goal of the MLS season so far was that little 1-2 between Luis Suarez and Allende, who's been phenomenal this season. I like what I see from their offensive end. But look, I think that this is going to be Atlanta's big win of the start of the season, at least, there's a lot of question marks with that defensive component of Inter Miami's team. Goalkeeper gets a red card. They're able to hold on. You got to give them a lot of credit for that. But I do think that the style of play of Atlanta, the way they attack the flanks, the movement from lot to lot, I feel like they're going to complicate things for Inter Miami, and they're going to get a big win. So I'm going to take Atlanta, and I want to hear the goals because I feel like this might be a very good game in terms of at least a 3.5. I'd be willing to put on it.
Okay. Still no word on Latte Lot, whether or not he will be out of concussion protocol by the time we get there. But once again, it's 5 days instantly put in after the match was over. So you're looking Friday, Saturday, having that extra day gives you that extra day to analyze. But 3.5 plus 120. And see, wow, they just skipped 4 altogether. So they don't think it's going to really get to 4 because 4.5 is a plus 273. 3.75 is 1.54. So I'm guessing if you wanted to pull something in the 4 range, it might be in the neighborhood of plus 200 if you're looking at 4. So that's what you're staring at. 3.5 a plus 120, 4.5 a plus 273. So kind of think somewhere in the middle for 4.
Yeah, I'm so certain it's going to be beyond that. That I'll just play it simple there with a 3.5. But I will take Atlanta on this one without a doubt. That's a great point about the concussion protocol on Lat. It might change a little bit, but I still believe that Atlanta could really take it to this Inter Miami team. I feel like that there's like a big rivalry between these two that has kind of been built up specifically over the last couple of seasons. So yeah, man, give me Atlanta, give me the goals.
And Will is saying he'd put money down on plus 4.5 in this one as well, considering that there will be no Ustari. It'll be the return of Rocco Rios Novo between the sticks for Messi and friends.
Mm-hmm.
And you wonder what the lineup's going to look like for them having played in Cavalry on Thursday night. What's going on with you, Pulso Sports, and your field trips to the Providence and Swedish Bouncy House and figuring out what's going on with Seattle as they get ready for the weekend?
Yep, we'll be there today. So make sure that you check out our YouTube channel, of course, Pulso Sports, with all of the updates on Paul Arriola, Jordan Morris, Pedro de la Vega. Is going to be a big news day at Providence and Swedish Performance Center and Clubhouse. Additionally from that, of course, don't forget on Fridays. So tomorrow we're going to be recording what you learned over the week. Me and Jeremiah will talk about the Cruz Azul loss. We'll talk about the game at St. Louis and whatever notes we have from today's training session and tomorrow's training session, which should be a short one. It should be a train and travel day for the team. So it's going to be an interesting week. Go ahead and check both Nos Arietas podcast and network for Los Scorchers kickoff on Monday mornings. And, of course, our Friday night afternoonish show with Jeremiah Oshan. We might have a little bit of a guest that we're trying to get for this one that might be interesting for some people here in the PNW.
Oh, okay. So you're heading to the clubhouse to find out what's going on. As always, my friend, great to see you. And we will catch up with you next week here as we always lay everything out from a Pacific perspective. Thank you, my friend. Be safe. We'll catch up with you next week.
Appreciate you, boss. We'll see you next week.
There goes Niko Moreno. And so Nico is out the door. A couple of quick things before we go. The Twos, once again, they play OCB coming up this weekend at Osceola Heritage Park. Team has announced that the start time for the match against FC Cincinnati 2 at the University of Northern Kentucky is now going to be a 2 o'clock start on April 27, as opposed to the original 6 o'clock start. So keep an eye on that as well as a part of our schedule when it comes to Atlanta United 2. The team is at Orlando on the 26th, and then they have to turn around. The Twos are playing at Northern Kentucky on the 27th against FC Cincinnati 2. So once again, quick reminders. Tomorrow, it's the preview of everything. We're previewing everything going on Major League Soccer. That's hour number 2. Hopefully, we can catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals Mentoring, find out what's going on in the life of Greg Garza and or Michael Parkhurst. Michael Parkhurst was in town for an event yesterday was here with Jillian and Jason and a bunch of folks at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So it was great to see that Michael was back here in town. So tomorrow morning, we'll get you ready for everything. Then, once again, we'll get you ready for the weekend in the 10 o'clock hour. Jason should be joining us about 10:30. And then it is GAC and Johnson Gainesville. That's going to be at Johnson Gainesville Friday night. Tonight, 5:30, 7:30. It is Eagles Landing hosting Hampton on the network. Boys match is first at 5:30. Girls match is set for 7:30. So once again, thanks to all of you folks. Thanks to all of our guests, Doug Irwin in Greenville, Andrew Wiebe getting ready to come down for Sunday Night Soccer, Niko Moreno, and our buddy Nino Torres from GOLTV to go fully loaded and take the tour around the planet in 30 minutes. Thanks to all of you guys. So we'll be back at it again tomorrow, and we'll break it all down for you and get you ready for a very, very busy weekend for the sport across the board. So for everybody here, thanks to all of you folks for dropping all of your stuff and hanging out with us for 2 hours every single Monday through Friday. And we'll be back at it again in lesson 22. So since that is the case, mucho plati, I'll play it safe. It's the end of the show. That means I get to do this. See you 9:05 again tomorrow morning.